What's up guys, Strict here and welcome back to another video with my mid-2012 MacBook Pro here. So today we're going to be doing something pretty interesting. This time we're not just going to dual boot it, we're going to quad boot this thing. That is right, I'm going to go through the painstaking process of figuring out Windows 11 as well as I'm going to put Linux on here. So I know I talked about putting Windows 7 on here. I did actually do that, and I will show that to you here in a little bit, but we're going to be throwing a secondary drive in there using this. So basically, this thing will replace the CD drive, and I will be putting this Samsung SSD in this slot, and we'll have a second drive. So we're going to be using that to basically dual boot 2 OSs on this drive, and then I have the latest Mac OS that this can run, as well as Windows 7 on the internal drive. So yeah, let's get started. So this is going to be just like any other time, removing the same Phillips screws from the back. So, I know that this process is a little bit painful because we have to deal with all of this in order to get to this. So, I'm going to start by unplugging our internet as well as that connector and that one. Okay. Anyways, next step is gonna be speaker right there, and there's two right there. All right. Next will be internet. Now that can lift up and go to the side. All right. We got 2 screws for it. One there, and then one up in this top corner. And then that kind of just does it. I believe we can just... Oh, never mind. One in the back. Forgot about that. There we go. So here's our cable. We can just pull that out. And we will need that bracket. Okay, that can go off to the side. Alright, let's start by putting our SSD in here. So, it's going to slide in like that. And that'll secure it in. So yes, this does say iFixit. That's where I originally got it from. I don't believe they still sell this, unfortunately, though. So I will link whatever I can find that's close enough to it if you guys are interested in doing this yourself. We're going to go and reconnect that. And then we'll go ahead and put the bracket on.
Clap your hands if you believe.
just gonna boot this up real quick. Alright, we're just gonna boot this up in the Windows. Okay, apparently not. Hold on. Alright, we're gonna go and boot this in the Windows 7. Just to make sure that the other drive is appearing. Okay. Yeah. Let's go and open up the disk manager. Also, as you can see, Boot Camp fully working on here, thank God. And there it is. There's our 1 terabyte drive. Perfect. So, great. Next, I'm just gonna put the back panel on and boot into Linux because that's probably gonna be the easiest one to do. All right. Windows. Okay, I don't know why it's saying Windows. All right, here it is. Ubuntu. All right. So, I'm not sure if it has networking. I heard that that was probably an issue, but that's fine. We'll deal with it. But at least all the rest of the buttons work. Wait, that didn't say UK. Okay. Yeah, we'll just go no internet for now. Let's go right for the install. Sure. What the hell? Is this like auto brightness? Alright, so basically in the last clip, I was installing Ubuntu on my Mac, and well, that went well. We have it all figured out, but we have another issue. I go and turn it on. It turns on, chimes. Nothing appears on the screen. Just wait. Yeah. So basically the backlight killed itself on my MacBook now. So this is a new problem that we are facing. Not a big deal. However, we will not be installing Windows 11 on this. I will go ahead and prove to you guys that Ubuntu did successfully install and that the drives are showing up properly in here that I installed. But, yeah, basically my next video with this MacBook is probably going to be a screen replacement. So let me go ahead and get this hooked up to show you what I did. Alright, so here we are in target disk mode. Of course, we got Windows as the Windows 7 installation that I have. We have Mac OS, and then this EFI boot is in fact Ubuntu. So we will go ahead. Sorry, I gotta use the keyboard on the actual laptop because apparently USB just doesn't work. But here we go. So there's Ubuntu. I really hope that this works. With the screen being closed, does. Alright, and then here's proof that we got Bluetooth working, because this dumb thing is Bluetooth. And right up here we got Wi-Fi and everything working. So, boom, there we go. Go to YouTube, I guess. There we go. There's YouTube. And then over here, there's our window. Ooh, okay. Here's our Windows drive, and I believe this is Mac OS. Yeah, so the Mac partition is still a terabyte, and I mean, the Linux is still a terabyte because I didn't actually partition this for Windows yet. And then, of course, this is the main drive. So there we go. They're both in here. They work. Okay, we can mount this one and mess with it within Ubuntu if we really wanted to. But yeah, there we go. It works. All of the drivers are here. Everything. So yeah, unfortunately, this is where I am going to have to end this video. But when I get a screen replacement for that Mac, I will do a video on replacing the screen, and then maybe we'll pick this back up and see if it can run Windows 11. I really do hope it's a screen problem. I really don't want to replace the motherboard for a third time, so I would really rather not do that if I don't have to. But anyways, hope you all enjoyed whatever content there was in this video. If you want to do this mod for yourself, I will leave a link to a similar adapter. When I was doing research, I could not find the exact adapter that I have here, so I will provide a link to something if you're interested.